Do you want to understand how your mind works? How we make our day-to-day decisions? How our past impacts our present and future? You are fascinated by the world of psychology. In this video, we'll try to understand the theories of mind.
My name is Anmol. I'm a mental health practitioner, counselor, psychologist, career coach, life coach, and life skills trainer. I'm here to share my insights and learnings with you to tackle life challenges and attain your highest potential. Let's create balance in your life.
Hi everyone, I hope all of you are doing great. Welcome to my channel, Ask Life with Anmol, where we try to create balance in your life. Understanding mind is a critical skill that we all need to beat today's hustle, stress, and anxiety. We are starting a new series for you in which we will teach you how to apply different theories of mind which a psychologist learn during their coursework. In this series, we will learn about Western psychologists as well as Indian psychologists, how they have given their theories of mind. We will also learn to apply these theories of mind in your day-to-day life. So stay tuned till the end. In today's video, we will be discussing about the theory of mind given by the psychologist Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud was a great psychologist who gave the theory of psychoanalysis. His theory of mind says that our brain is like an iceberg. It has three components to the brain. The first is the conscious part, second is the preconscious part, and third is the unconscious part. If you see the diagram here of the iceberg, if you have heard the quote, the tip of the iceberg, that is just a small part of it, 2 to 3%. But when you go under the sea, that's when the true deep secrets reside of our unconscious mind. So Freud developed this theory of mind, taking care how our unconscious mind impacts our day-to-day life. Let's try to understand these three types of mind. The first part is the conscious mind. Conscious mind is like your short-term memory. Whatever you are doing in that current situation, that is a part of your conscious mind. Let's say you are studying currently in your physics class. So you will learn the concepts of physics. All that will go into your conscious mind. You are working or giving presentation at your workplace. So in that state, your focus is on giving the presentation to present all the critical points present in the PPT to the audience. So you have all that memory in your mind. That's called the conscious mind. The second part of mind is preconscious mind. Things which we are not aware of in the current moment. Let's say if I ask you what you had for dinner yesterday, it will take some time for you to think about it, right? So that is a preconscious mind. It can also be called as a long-term memory. Let's say you are learning something about a chapter. When you go to examination, you are using your preconscious mind, what you studied in your classroom. Let's say you are giving a presentation at your workplace, so you will remember all the key components. Let's say how you made the PPT. That is in your preconscious state. It is not aware in the present moment, but if you try, you can bring this memory to the conscious state. It comes just below the conscious memory or conscious part of the brain. Third part of mind given by Freud is the unconscious part, which is 80% of the iceberg if you see here. These are your repressed emotions, interpersonal conflicts, or any traumatic incident that happened to you in the past. For example, you had a very traumatic childhood. You are not given independence in your childhood. That made you dependent on your parents. Now, you are in a committed relationship and you show a behavior of dependence towards your partner. And these things you are unaware of. You don't know why I am doing this. why I am being dependent on my partner, but it is all related to your unconscious mind. Freud said that there are two ways of getting to know about the unconscious mind. This he has given in his therapeutic approach also. First is the free association and second is the dream analysis. Let's talk about free association. If you have watched the movie ZNMD, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, in that case, Farhan Akhtar plays this game where he asks or give a word and Abhay Deol has to think about the word instantaneously. And if you are thinking too much about it, that means that particular area is bothering you. That's called free association. You get to know what is there in your unconscious mind. Secondly is dream analysis. So dream analysis Freud did in his therapy. Let me give you an example of that. If we have recurring dreams of death, we see ourselves dying, it, according to the theory given by Freud, means that you are not satisfied with your current self. You want to give up some negative habits of your current self and become a newer version. That's why one person will have multiple dreams related to death. So this is the major part of the mind which Freud discovered, the unconscious part of it. The second theory which is related to Freud and which gives us an extension of the pre-conscious, conscious and the unconscious mind is the theory of personality and mind, which divides us into three categories of id, ego and superego. Now if you remember any cartoon, a Tom and Jerry cartoon, where Tom was thinking about something and there was a devil in red and there was a Saint Tom in the white. You might have seen many cartoons. That's the best way to describe Freud's theory of mind, which divides it into id, ego and superego. Now let's try to understand what are these three parts of Freud's theory. The first part of your mind is the id part. Now you can imagine id as a small child, who does not care about what is the society saying about me. They just want to get it, anything that they want. This id is based upon the pleasure principle. That if I want to eat an ice cream, I will eat it, irrespective if I have cold or not. I want to go out and have fun, I will go out. I don't care about anyone. So that is the id part. They focus on the pleasure. They don't think about the society. So this is the first part according to the Freud. The second part of the mind is ego. Now ego is a grown-up child who knows that this is not good for me, I'll not do it. They know what are the societal norms, what society expects them to do. They work on the principle of reality and I. For example, they know they have to study to pass the examination. They know that I don't have to eat ice cream when I am having a fever or I am having a cold. It will tell them, on the other hand, that let's say I want to touch a hot object, because they don't know about the consequences. Ego knows about the consequences and the reality. Third part of the mind is superego. Superego is like a moral watchdog. It understands what are the moral values according to the society. It knows that beating someone is illegal or murdering someone is illegal. I have to respect everyone in the society. I belong to a nation, so I have to follow its citizenship. So superego is about the moral values. According to this theory, Freud said that one needs to create a balance between the id, ego and superego. But it has become very difficult to create this balance. Why? Because if you see the world around us, it is teaching you instant gratification because of social media, other companies coming into picture. For example, if you are feeling low, you want to eat a pizza or a cake, you can just order it and feel good about it. You can watch a movie, you can binge watch on a series, you feel good about it. If you want to have a partner, you want to gratify your needs, You can do it with a left swipe or a right swipe on a dating app. So this is all promoting your id. Your ego and superego are going low. So that's how world is enhancing the id part, which creates unbalance in all the areas, whether it is related to your career, physical health, mental health, relationships, etc. So now we will be going towards the tool which will help you identify out of these three areas of id, ego and superego is balanced for you or not. I want everyone to carry yourself a pen and a notebook for this, and let's start the tool. So I hope all of you have carried yourself a pen and a notebook. I will give you 15 questions. 5 questions for each part, id, ego and superego. You just have to answer them in yes and no. So let's start with the id related questions. So the first question, all the questions will be shown to you on screen. So you can pause wherever you want to see the questions. First question, id related question is, do you often act on impulse without considering the consequences? Just answer in yes or no. Second question of id is, do you frequently seek immediate pleasure or gratification? Yes or no. Third question, do you find it difficult to resist temptations or cravings often? Yes or no. Fourth question, do you sometimes feel driven by strong urges? Yes or no. And last question, fifth question, do you often prioritize your own needs and desires over others? Let's go to the second part, ego related questions. So the first question of ego is, do you tend to weigh the pros and cons before making a decision? Yes or no. Second question, are you able to delay gratification in order to achieve long-term goal? Yes or no. Do you often consider the reality of situations before acting upon it? Yes or no. Do you try to balance your own needs with the needs of the others? Yes or no. Fifth question, do you find yourself mediating conflicts between your desires and societal expectations? Yes or no. Now let's move to the superego related questions. The first question is, do you often feel guilty or ashamed when you think you have done something wrong? Yes or no. Second question, do you strive to live up to high moral standards set up by the society? Yes or no. Third question, do you frequently evaluate your actions against a set of ethical principles? Yes or no. Fourth question, do you often feel a sense of pride when you do something you believe in morally right? Fifth question, last question for superego, do you try to control your impulses in order to adhere to societal norms? Yes or no. I hope you have answered all the questions. In case you missed any questions, you can pause the video, go back to those questions. Now, once you have answered all the questions, I want you to give 1 point if you have answered yes to those questions and 0 for no if you have answered no to it. And just calculate these scores for id, ego and superego. So for example, what will be your id score, what will be your superego score and what will be your ego score if you give 1 points to yes and 0 points to no. Now let's understand the interpretation which will be given to you on screen also. How will you interpret the scores? We will interpret the scores for each section, each part of mind differently. So if you have got 4 to 5 marks in any of the sections, that means that is dominant for you. So if you have got dominance in id part, so that is dominant id. If you have got 4 to 5 marks in your ego, it is dominant ego. If you have got 4 to 5 marks in superego, that is a dominant superego. 2 to 3 marks, if you have got, that means that area of the part of the mind is balanced for you. And lastly, if you have got 0 to 1 marks in any of the areas, that means that is a low id or low ego or low superego. So now you can find out which area is highly dominant for you, which area is balanced for you, and which area is low for you. What will you do now after you got this course? If you have got high id, that is a dominant for you, or it is coming low, that means you work on impulses, you work on instant gratification. So try to achieve delayed gratification. Try to understand the process, whatever work you are doing, their pros and cons, and try to control over it. If you have got a dominant ego, that means you believe in yourself. You don't think about others much. You believe in independence more. So how can you create a balance between ego? When you understand or create better relationships with people. So that is one way how you can create a balance in your ego. And lastly, superego. If it is unbalanced for you, or it is too dominant or low for you, then you can understand spirituality. Then you can understand a different world of self-concept for yourself. Right? So that is how you can create a balance between superego for yourself. If you understand how the moral values work, what are your core values. Right? So that is how I hope you understood the concept of mind given by Freud works in our contemporary world. If you have any questions or doubts, you can comment down below. Like this video, share this video with your friends and family members so that they can understand about mind more. We will be coming up with more theories of mind parts for you from Western psychologists as well as Indian psychologists. Subscribe to my channel Ask Life with Anmol for more such videos on psychology, mental health, wellness and life balance. Create balance in your life. Keep growing.